This video is about how to get the most out of your EV battery and maximize your range. So Stan and I, we're from Go Green Hub. Thanks for joining us. And we have come across this website from Car and Driver. We'll put a link down below. And it's titled 10 Ways to Squeeze the Most Driving Range from Your Electric Vehicle. So as we move on here, you own an electric vehicle and you want to know how to get the most out of the battery, how to charge it the best and all that. And so one of the things that Stan they've got here is to drive gently. And I would think that makes a lot of sense, not to just go ahead and, gun the engine like you're racing a Corvette, to accelerate, somewhat conservatively.
It says here, whenever traffic allows, that you should drive as if there's an egg between your foot and the gas pedal or the accelerator pedal. Did you hear that? I said gas pedal, and we're talking about EV maximizing driving efficiently in an electric vehicle.
I think that egg is a fantastic, because you don't want to smash an egg. You don't want to do that. So here's the second one: is regenerative braking in town. And Stan, your car has regenerative braking. How does that work?
Well, especially when even if you're coming to a stop sign, put the brake on a little bit, and then you will regenerate the electricity in your hybrid or your battery. So in other words, you just touch it a little bit, and then you will use the motor to slow down the car and regenerate the battery at the same time. It's really working. Sure, you can do it even more so on a downhill on a downhill path, but there again, you can do it just in slowing to get to the stoplight rather than slamming on your brakes.
When are we going to tell the viewers of the special we have for them? If they stay until the end, when are we going to tell them?
Later, when towards the end of the video.
Excellent. So planning ahead here, when I drive gasoline car, when I drive anything, my diesel truck, I'm always looking up ahead to let off the gas early. So planning ahead is like, okay, is the light red? Am I going to race to the red light, or do I let up and coast and save some of that juice? That's all about planning ahead, and that probably takes a little bit of practice if you're new to that. The next is going to be preconditioning the car, and what that means is if it's hot outside and I want the air conditioning to turn on and cool the car down, or if it's cold outside, I want to heat the car. And if you're an electric vehicle owner, you know that heating the cabin of the car that takes up a lot of juice. But preconditioning the car would be for you to set up your climate control while it's still plugged in and charging. That way, the heat or the air conditioning is not getting burned from the battery as you're driving.
Hey, that's something I didn't know, that you could actually precondition your interior climate control. And that's pretty amazing. I wish I had that sometime when it's really hot in here in Arizona, or even in the last couple of days when it gets colder in the morning.
What about keeping tires properly inflated, Stan?
Well, I know I have this signal on my dashboard where it tells if my tires are a little bit low, and when it gets a little colder, that sometimes they aren't up to the right inflation. And of course, when you have a low inflated tire, it does take more energy to get overcome the inertia, to get it going. And so it's better for your efficiency in driving to have your tires properly inflated. And really, you should know what your tires should be inflated to.
Keeping your speed reasonable. This one here, Most ICE or internal combustion engines, actually not most, but all of them, a lot of their juice, the energy is in heat and noise. So you don't have that with an electric vehicle. It's just the juice goes right to the right to the wheels and gets you moving. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is all vehicles, electric and cars, ICE cars, they have wind drag, they have road drag, and so what that is the higher, the faster you go, the more physical forces against it. So if you're going to drive your car really fast, you're going to use up more battery power. Just as if you were going to go really fast in a car, you're going to use up more gasoline the faster you go. So keep your speed reasonable.
That may be difficult when you have somebody else, and the male ego gets in the way sometimes. And hey, to keep it reasonable might sometimes it's a little bit difficult. But here it says next is use the cruise control. Now, unless you drive a lot on the highway, going on road trips and stuff like that. Let's say you're just in town. I'm not sure this cruise control is much of a difference, because I don't use cruise control at all while I'm in the city. But there again, if you're going to make a longer distance or a road trip, well, then the cruise control is something that would be smart to use.
Echo mode is always something to experiment with. It helps you moderate really how hard you are on the gas and on the brakes. So trying echo mode could be a fantastic option.
When I toured for 48 states and I drove through 48 states, I used echo mode a lot because it really did help with the the efficiency of the vehicle. Tune your climate control. Now, I gotta admit, I do not have climate control in my hybrid, but I know that EVs do. Now, George, you've made more of a study of climate control than I have in a car, so why don't you cover this one?
So the climate control, in these EVs, some of them, and you should look at this if you don't already have one, or if you do have one, see if it's available, but you can close some of the vents out and you can make your vehicle direct the heat. And you have vents sometimes in the cars where you can turn them on or off. And if you're the only person in the car, you can probably turn off the ones on the passenger side, or, instead of, if it's cold outside, turn the heat way up to get warm. Use the heater that's in the seat or the heater that's in the steering wheel. Put on an extra layer of clothes or something like that. If it's hot out and you need the air conditioning, we don't have air-conditioned seats and air-conditioned steering wheels. Maybe that's for the future. And you really can only do so much for clothing. So tune in your climate control and, just do your best there. Stan, what's next?
Well, it says coast when you can. Now, I've got to admit, I've never put my car in neutral and just coasted along. I've either used regenerative braking or something like that. But hey, look at I guess it is a technique that you would use on the highway, but not in the city or in suburban traffic. But hey, look at when you're on the interstate or the freeway, it might work rather well. I don't know. I would have an eerie feeling if I just put the car in neutral and lost control, because whenever I see these driverless vehicles, I always have my doubts. So, if you enjoyed our video today, maybe you'd like to subscribe to our channel and join in, because we have a drawing every month where we give away a free coffee mug or a free water bottle, and even sometimes we give away a Go Green Hub hoodie. Yes, the Go Green Hub is the go-to source for all things of sustainable energy and transportation.